doing?
Just thinking of you, my friend. Just thinking of you.
Well, all right.
Well, if that's what you're doing.
I mean, oddly, I believe it.
What are you doing?
I'm just chilling, man. I just got done working out, and now me and my fellow
Thespians?
ranch mates, are the wildlings, I call them. We're just making some dinner like we do. Just doing life.
And how many people are with you?
Well, right now, yeah, there's about half a dozen of us or so.
Half a dozen.
But yeah, but more folks are migrating, and hopefully we'll be able to.
People don't.
You hear the song that's playing right now?
No, what is it?
Can you not hear it? Really? It's Holiday Road from National Lampoon Vacation.
Holiday Road.
Take a ride on a West Coast kick. Holiday Road. Yeah, you really can't sing together on IG Live. The latency is such a bummer.
Can't they come up with something where we could sing together on that?
Yeah, that would just require a lot more money and time programming, but sure. Eventually they'll figure it out. It's just like even with Zoom, which is the best kind of multi-person online meeting situation. Even that, everybody's talking over each other. You're like, what? What? It's like all of those. Do you remember all those funny sketches people came out with back when conference calling became a thing, and we were all making fun of, oh, Chad's entered the chat, Chad's left the chat, Chad's all that. Like now it's the same stuff with just video conferencing, and everyone's popping in and out.
Did you ever think that this Zoom thing and all this would be that's the thing now?
100%. I just am shocked that Skype fucked it all up. I have no idea how they missed this boat. This is like somebody creating ride sharing 20 years before Uber and then not somehow getting to market faster. I don't know how they fucked all this up. I really don't.
The guys. It was Skype. And
Skype. Skype was the first. Skype was on track to become the Kleenex of tissue paper, and instead
the paper.
They're what?
Nothing. They wiped ass with that piece of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody goes, I still use Skype. Well, sorry to hear that.
No. Some people still use Skype. Apparently, Amazon has this other thing called Chime as well. Everybody's trying to get in now to this thing. But Zoom, if Zoom doesn't fuck it up, Zoom is going to be the quintessential. Zoom will be the Kleenex.
Hey, how are you feeling? You're in a routine now. You look great. I think. What are you doing? Just working out, sleeping well? Are you any anxiety, any anxiousness right now?
Not really. No, man. It's been a very interesting, just a very interesting moment in life. I think so much of my anxiety was driven by things that were within my control, not outside of my control. I think there are two kind of categories of anxious people. I'm sure there are more than just two, but there are two broad categories of anxious people. Those that are anxious about the things that they can't control, and things that are anxious about the things that they can control. And I was always anxious about the things I could control because I was always trying to do it in the most perfect way. And if I couldn't do it in the most perfect way, I felt like a failure because that's how I was programmed as a kid by my parents. Not that they meant to even, but that's what they instilled in me and my sisters. And so for me, it was always don't fuck this up, Zach. Don't fuck this up. Things outside of my control, I've always had a much easier time being like, well, okay, that's what it is. And since, a due date of bat in China, and then all of a sudden we are in this place that I have no control over. You have no control over. I mean, we have control over ourselves, and we have control over, obviously, the actions that we're going to do and how we will either help or hinder this situation.
Yep.
When it comes to our neighbors and our families and our friends and all that jazz. And so we're all responsible for that, but nobody's really responsible for this outside of, either an accident or, which is in some market, or some person leaking it from a lab, either accidentally or otherwise. I don't know. I don't know.
What's funny is I feel like I was out of control for the first couple of weeks. So I was just like, oh my God, my anxiety's back. And then started to realize, hey, we talk about control. I have control to actually get into a routine, continue to do the things that are working, and it doesn't. The world's starting to feel crazy around me that I have to stop what I'm doing, because then I lose control. Then I do spiral with everything and start to deal with all the the media and everything. So I'm like, hey, you could watch 15 minutes of the news in the morning, and you could watch 15 minutes of news in the night. You could pick your whatever source it is and stick to a routine. Wake up at a certain time, go work out, go for a walk your dogs, disconnect, get off your phone. So the more I do that, the better I feel. And I notice when I'm getting anxiety, it's when I don't disconnect and just say, and by the way, one person, our good friend Sandy, back wherever, Sandy, it was like, your inbox is never going to be empty. You're always going to have something to do. It's not going to, you can't just keep going saying, I'm going to get this done. You've got to stop and step back.
Yeah.
It's not worth you know what I mean? It's
yeah. Well, because we feel this, we constantly feel like we're treading water, because I think, well, for a lot of reasons, one of the reasons why is because I think we don't know how to balance life and work, mainly because we don't value our life as much as we ought to. And I think we secretly, maybe not so secretly sometimes, but we subconsciously, we are disappointed in ourselves for having let our life get to a place where we feel overwhelmed with the amount of work or things that we have to do, and we feel buried by it. We feel overwhelmed by those things. And if you do care and you want to succeed, and you're being instilled since you're a child, succeed. If you don't succeed, you don't have money. If you don't have money, you don't live. Then so that's all rooted in, that's literally like, that's our sympathetic nervous system kicking in. It's our fight or flight, and it's survival. So that means every single email, every single DM, every single text, every single everything can, for many of us, be rooted directly to survival. If you don't take care of that, you're going to get overwhelmed. So you gotta check it off and check it off. You got to get these things going.
Yeah.
Instead of saying to yourself, you know what? I'm actually going to be okay if I don't. I'm going to be okay if I don't get to all of these texts. I'm going to be okay if I don't get to all of these emails. I'm going to be okay if I don't get to all of these DMs. In fact, I'm going to be okay if I decided right now to change my life entirely, completely jump off of social media entirely, go get another job in another town entirely, and go live a life of more solitude and more peace. And if that's something that you so choose, no one is trapped into this hamster wheel that we're all being told we have to be running on. No one is trapped in it. And we are also not beholden to all of the programming that we are constantly being given, the ways that we're marketed to and sold to. And, I think this is a great time for all of us to be just looking at all of the people that are trying to sell us things and ask ourselves, A, do you need it? Do you really need it? And B, do they really need to be selling it to me? Why are they?
I was thinking that today, 2 hours ago. I'm watching TV, my 15 minutes, if you will. And I'm watching it, and it goes to all the people, to everybody who's like just trying to get into your, like, oh, for all the nurses, not to say that it's bad, but everybody's milking it now, trying to get into her, make you feel that you need to donate, you need to buy our product. They're like, it's manipulative. It's so manipulative. And
well,
like,
but
what for product? It's like, now in time of that, what we're doing is what we've always done. We've provided you with this. If you just give us it, there's that. I get it, but
no, you're not wrong. There are absolutely companies, like they always have, that are using this as an opportunity to sell. They're just finding a new way in with. It's a good thing you're rolling in the middle of not being around anybody. That's fine. But here's the thing. First of all, advertisements are always trying to sell you something. That's the whole point of what they're doing. So you can't be shocked that a company's trying to sell you something. That's all commercials are. and they are trying to. Some of them are very pertinent types of things that still need to be sold and used in the middle of a pandemic. More than that. And by the way, this is not me saying that there aren't, like I said, like companies that are absolutely trying to milk this. There are companies milking this.
Right.
But I tell you what, the smartest ones, the smartest companies to me, are the ones that are going to use this. They'll do their advertising because that, by the way, they have budgets for these things. It's like, it's all baked into their yearly kind of fiscal report and stuff. Like, it's all allocated. And they're trying to, and some of them are just trying to be creative, be respectful of the situation, but be creative, and also do some really cool shit. And I can't remember, it was State Farm. I think it was State Farm. Or Farmers. One of the two. We are farmers.
.com.
What?
Maybe it was farmersonly.com.
No, we're not farmersonly.com. No.
With the farmers with the dating site.
Yeah, I know what farmersonly.com is.
Is that what it is?
I've been on it for years. I have yet to find my cowboy. It's just difficult. It's difficult. Lots of alpaca herders. I don't know why. No. So it was Farmers Earth. I think it might have been State Farm. Anyway, the point is, it was actually one of the coolest things I have seen. And I haven't really watched a lot of advertised content unless I'm watching like The Last Dance on Hulu. Which, by the way, did you watch The Last Dance?
I'm almost done. It is blown away. Blown.
Yeah, it's so good. I want more. I want more Last Dance and more Tiger King. And in fact, I want a last Tiger King dance. That's what I want.
Tiger King dance.
The last
that they're going.
Michael Flatley will come out. It'll be a whole like river dance type of thing.
Oh my god, that'd be great.
Anyway, so anyway, get back to the point. The point is State Farm or Farmers or State Farm. Their commercial was, they said, hey, we know this is like starting on like a lot of these commercials. Hey, it's that somber voice and that, we know it's a hard time. And like you were saying, and we're all in this together. But instead of just saying, we're there for you, or, this is a good time to have an insurance policy, whatever the fuck, they said, we realize that right now, very few people are driving at all. And yet you're still paying, our customers are still paying for their auto insurance and things. So we're actually refunding a whole bunch of our people to the tune of like $1 billion, because that's not, essentially saying, we recognize that that's not fair, that we're collecting a bunch of auto insurance while you guys aren't even putting yourself at risk and putting our insurance at risk. And so we're doing this big refund. I was like, that is genius. Not only is it great fucking advertising for that company, but it's great advertising because it's a really good and right thing to do. And if more companies actually got their heads out of their ass and realized, holy shit, if you actually take care of your constituency, they'll stay with you. They want to stay with you. So anyway.
Instead of like, hey, you're buying our insurance, sell. It's like, hey, you don't need us right now as much, so we're going to give you back. That's a beautiful thing, and that's a rare thing.
By the way, I feel it's a very rare thing, but it's unfortunate. But I tell you what would make the world completely like rejoice. Everyone in the world would rejoice. And it would be the greatest like gift that all of these people, I believe, karmically, philosophically, whatever, ought to be doing. But everyone in the world is stressed out right now. But when it comes to the bills that they are going to have to pay on the other side of, or even during this time when they have no jobs, some people are working right now. A lot of people are not working right now, and of the people who are not working, a lot of them don't have some kind of a cushion while we're waiting out this crazy storm. So a lot of people are getting hosed from no debt forgiveness. Well, all debt ultimately leads to one destination, which is the banks of the world. And the banks of the world could all just say, you know what? We don't need to collect any interest or mortgages or anything right now. We're just going to go pause. We're just going to pause until we get to the other side of this, and then we'll resume again. And then everyone's mortgages and everyone's rent and everyone's bills and all that stuff, all of that will then start back up again. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do that? You have all of those banks have billions
have trillions and trillions of dollars.
Billions of dollars.
They have all of the fucking money. They have all of it. They don't need more right now. Like, don't be the assholes that everybody paints you to be. Don't be the enemies of the world. Don't be the 1% villains. Be fucking heroes right now. And by the way, do it by simply just not collecting more money from people for a fucking hot second.
Damn, not Lex Luthor. Yeah, I did that.
Say what now?
What? I did that.
What'd you do?
I said, be Shazam, not Lex Luthor, because I'm seeing all these.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's Shazam. Holy shit.
Holy shit. I mean, you know, I could have been you.
Oh, that
could have been you.
If you guys, by the way, if you want to listen, he's been on my podcast twice. He's one of my favorite guests of all time. And we're supposed to do a live thing. I don't know if it's going to happen, but hopefully July 2nd in Austin. But you're going to interview me soon. It's a lot to do. It's a lot to do. And I got to get down there. I know I've said it, but, you know, when you least expect it, I'm going to be there.
What, has he fried his brain? No, I haven't.
Who's talking over there?
I was about to call him today and see how it went.
You know, it's how he breathes. Whoever does De Niro, they should always breathe it because he's like, you know.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
I don't really do it. I don't really do that one.
No, I don't really do it, man.
What's your best impressions?
I don't know. I don't know that I do individuals as well as I do just like generic dialects and accents and things like that. But I would say that probably, I don't know, like everybody's got a walk-in, you know. Come on, Mike. You're really good. I've done your podcast a couple of times.
That's great.
You got inside me. You got inside me, Mike.
Great, because I work. And you sound good. A lot of people, they don't know expressions because they're mocking it. They're doing it.
That's like that's the worst thing.
But you know what's funny is that's really good. I've seen most people do them well at all, right? But you have his
no.
That's a good walking right there.
I know. People tell me. Come on.
He is.
It's yeah. Left his wallet in the dead man's hands.
Man, God.
You're an eggplant.
I know you think. This guy, he had this uncomfortable hunk of metal up his ass for 5 years.
5 years.
Died of dysentery from the watch. Another man. Dude, I love you. Any more of your time. I love that you came on. I was just,
You're not taking my time.
You're the only person. You're the only person I text. I was like, I'll ask Zach, and you came on.
Well, there was somebody else on before I was on.
Well, that was just my friend Morty.
Did you text him?
No, he came on. He was already on. I didn't text anybody but you. I'm not. Give me your best line. If you've never done it from The Wizard of Oz, you've never done this impression, try it.
I've done it all kinds. If I were king of the forest, not a queen, not a duke, not a prince, my regal rose of the forest would be satin, not cotton, not chin, dum, dum, dum. I'd command each thing, be it fish or fowl, with a in there and a royal growl. Oh my God, your face is amazing.
I can't believe that.
Put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up.
What? Dude, not to name drop, but our late friend Carrie Fisher, for her birthday one year, I got her an old picture of Bert Lahr screen test shot, and she always had it in her house. And I always would go in when she had it in her bathroom. When I took a piss, I was like, "Look at that! There he is. There's Bert."
That's awesome.
I can't believe you just did. I just randomly said that. I had no idea you did that.
Oh yeah, I've done The Wizard of Oz multiple times. Although I was always cast as the Scarecrow. Go figure.
I wouldn't. What about The Wiz?
Brainless.
Remember The Wiz?
The Wiz?
The Wiz. It was The Wizard of Oz, but it was
yeah.
Yeah.
With an urban cast. Yeah, I've never done The Wiz.
And he'd rust himself by crying. He goes, "A tea, a tea, a tea," and he'd cry and it'd rust him up. Anyway, it wasn't a great movie.
Yeah, I know. It didn't really play well.
Shouldn't have brought it up. But I also have a picture downstairs. Who I think is the biggest villain ever, the best villain ever, is Margaret Hamilton, who played the witch.
In The Wiz?
In The Wizard of Oz. She terrified me.
Oh.
That character, Witch of the West, in The Wizard of Oz, the original, is one of the scariest villains of all time to me.
I can believe that.
You don't think that, though?
No, well, no, not necessarily, because I've seen way scarier shit, bro.
What?
Because I've seen way scarier shit. I don't know, like, what rocks have you been living under that you haven't seen far more scary things than the Wicked Witch of the West? Get them, my pretties!
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too. I love Margaret Hamilton. There was something with the nose and the way her face was that.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what I think the most terrifying one of the most, because there's quite a few. I mean, I think the alien from Alien and Aliens is by far one of the most terrifying.
Absolutely, with the jump.
Bad. I mean, Aliens, I particularly like. There were so, like, James Cameron really accentuated the just the action horror of that whole movie, and oh my god, so many terrifying moments, the face huggers, all that. But dude, in Legend, Tom Cruise, Mia Sara, Legend, like 1981 to whatever, right?
Yeah,
maybe a little bit later than that. So first of all, if you've not seen the director's cut, you have got to go see the director's cut, because Ridley Scott directed that movie. I think it was Ridley, or it might have been his bro, but I'm pretty sure it was Ridley. And but it was also kind of earlier in his career, and he obviously didn't have final a director's cut, like final cut. So his cut is like fully orchestrated with like actual orchestra and keys and strings and stuff, as opposed to what was released, which is like the 80s like synth soundtrack that we all came to know and love as kids. You remember this movie, correct?
Yeah, I remember it, but I don't. It's been so long.
Dude, Tim Curry plays the devil. Do you not remember this movie?
Is it worth seeing again?
Yes!
It still holds up?
Yes!
By the way, this is amazing you're saying this, because I love horror. But is this considered horror?
Horror?
It's not considered horror.
No, dude, it's like adventure. It's like fucking... It's like Willow almost.
No, dude. Horror.
Dude, I'm so disappointed in you right now, Rose.
Listen, I'm a huge horror fan. So like, dude, John Heater, we started of it's called Where Have All the Good Horror Movies Gone? So we just like watch horror movies and just talk about it. It's like my dream.
Yeah, you guys keep having fun with that. I hate horror movies.
You hate horror movies.
I don't hate them. I just don't like them as much as every other genre of movie.
But I need to watch Legend, the director's cut.
Well, watch both. Watch both. I think it's fascinating, because if you don't remember the original, then it's worth watching. But anyway, the point is there's a bad guy, a villain, a dark character that's not the main, but like there's a lot of dark characters in the movie. It's quite like, for a kids movie, it was actually pretty disturbing. But there's this character that I think is called simply the Bog Witch, or something like that. It's one of these monster kind of characters that Tom Cruise has to like make his way through to get to the main bad guy, the main boss, the Tim Curry devil character.
Well, stop, because I don't remember. You're giving it away.
No, I'm not giving anything away. You'll just see. When you see it, you'll understand why it is infinitely more terrifying to a young mind than the Wicked Witch of the fucking West. Okay.
All right, fine.
Infinitely.
But
I'm fine that way.
I'm fine. I honestly think, The Exorcist, The Omen, like, remember I don't know if you saw The Omen, but when Damien, the kid, they take him to the zoo and the animals like attack the car because they know, like, or when he goes to, no mommy.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I don't. This is the part of my problem. Horror movies are
Don't say it. Be careful with words. Careful with your words.
No, what I don't like is that most horror movies involve characters making bad decisions that keep putting them in peril. And I hate that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I hate, because I want to root for the good guy. I don't want to think you deserve to die.
Sigourney Weaver, she was smart.
Sigourney Weaver in what, Alien?
Yeah, she was a bright character. She wasn't making bad decisions.
Yeah, she was fucking capable. So were the rest of her. So were the rest of her crew. They were getting overpowered by a very strong bad guy.
Right.
That's the way a horror movie ought to be.
Right. By the way.
But most horror movies are not that. Most horror movies are basically like this unkillable force and people making bad decisions and walking into houses and rooms that they shouldn't go into.
But wait. That you would love that aren't.
Wait, stop. So the majority of horror movies, that's why I don't watch those.
I'm take an edible. Go ahead.
Somebody says Alien is sci-fi. Alien is sci-fi, but it's sci-fi horror. It is sci-fi horror, I believe. But listen. But this is my problem with this other category of horror movies. So if I know there are ones that have smarter characters, but a lot of those ones are movies that are about like the occult and spiritual darkness and shit. And dude, I don't fuck with that shit. I don't like fucking with that shit. That shit fucks me. That screws me up way too much, because I do believe in light and darkness as concepts in the universe. I believe that I don't believe that people are evil. I don't believe that, but I do believe that the way the powers and principalities, and even just the way that we are raised in this world and how society can fuck us all up, can make us not good versions of what we could have been as individuals, right? And a lot of trauma that happens to people and stuff like that. But there is also darkness amongst us. There is something, and like you can't really put your finger on it, but you can kind of feel that. And that stuff, dude. I watched. Did you ever see Tales from the Crypt Demon Night?
Yes, of course.
Yes, duh. What, bro? How could I not have ever seen it?
Have you? By the way, there are movies, you're right, when it comes to spiritual or something. I remember this movie, 30 Days of Night, and it was okay horror movie. It was kind of fun.
You're talking about the vampires up in like Alaska, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Great premise.
And the only word that they utter in the whole movie is, she goes, God, please, God. And he looks at her and goes, no God. And then kills her. And that's it. He says, no God. That's the only line that they say. Terrifying.
I had nightmares after Tales from the Crypt Demon Night. I had nightmares, legit nightmares, because it was so, even though it was so campy and so dumb and whatever, I was like, the blood of Jesus is passed down for generations because they needed to like keep darkness away. I'm like, oh my God, I need that.
Oh
yeah,
my!
It was intense.
There's something about it. Like Heater and I, we have a. It's funny because Heater is Mormon, and I know. And so it's like Jews, Mormons, and my black friends, and we Zoom. And so now that we can't watch together, every Thursday night we watch a horror movie and we Zoom, so you could hear people like commentating during the thing, like, "Man, that's stupid," or you hear boring, like people, and it's fun, but
yeah, I don't see. That's not. I don't like Mystery Science Theater 3000 being good. Like I like watching movies that I like, and I don't like talking through them unless I'm quoting through them because I can't help myself because I'm that asshole.
You do.
I'll be watching some movie like Dumb and Dumber or The Big Lebowski or Groundhog Day, and I will not stop quoting it throughout.
Yes,
the
but
movie.
we don't do that. If something's good, I'll mute everybody and sit in a corner in my house on the couch and mute everybody on the phone and watch it and go, oh my gosh. Like It Follows was a great horror movie. That was one of the few semi-new ones in the last few years.
Yeah.
And John and I, the next day, we would do that picture. We just get on and talk about the horror movies. It's so fun. We're like Siskel and Ebert, but like,
that's great. We'll talk about comedies or something.
Like horror. It's okay. I get it. It's fine. The Thing is epic. The Thing.
I still haven't seen The Thing. I've heard it's great though. I know it's a classic. I know. I've never seen it. Boy,
is that good. There's this great scene. I'll just say, and then I'll let you go. they're testing the blood to see who has it, and the blood will multiply. It will split if it's another organism, an alien living in one of the. So they tie him up because they don't know who is good. So the guy's like this. He's like the older guy. He's sitting there, and they go, "Put your hand out." And he takes his blood, and it goes, and he's good. He's like, he's good, and he says something like, "That's great. Now will you do me a favor? Get me the fuck out of here!" It's just awesome. He flips out like, "Untie me, you son of a bitch." It's great. George C. Scott, when people flip out in the middle of nowhere, favorite. George C. Scott, Exorcist 3. He goes, this guy's hounding him, and he knows that this devil that's come back, the exorcist, this whatever, this entity is real. And this guy's going, "It's not in the files." He goes, "It's in the files. We said it was in the files." This cocky other FBI guy. "It's in the files." And he goes, "It's not in the files." I'm sorry. And I'm just like, oh, I love when people flip out, man. It's the best. All right, I love you, dude. I had fun. This is fun.
Yeah, this is really fun. Let's do it again. I don't know. Whatever.
I love it. We can just talk
Just
about
let me know, bro. Let me know.
Guys,
Also, get your ass out to Wildwood.
What's that?
Also, get your ass out here.
I know. I'm gonna come. It's early. I'm just trying to figure stuff out. I live alone. I have 2 dogs. I'm like, I got
Dogs are welcome, bro.
I'm gonna sleep in your bed, bro. I'm gonna sleep right next to you, man.
No, bro. No.
All right.
All right. You can't.
Hey, everybody loves you on here.
But I'm Big Spoon.
Huh? Did you?
I said I'm Big Spoon. That's all.
Fine.
Get out of here. Love you.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye. Dude, how was that? Guys, come on. Good buddy Zach. The guy is just he's probably one of my favorite people in the world. Just what you see is what you get. Genuine, awesome, always fun to be around, and really just a huge heart. I think that's why I love him the most. Just a big, big heart, man. Really loves people, wants a big advocate for mental health. We talk about that on the podcast constantly. So kudos to Zach. I love you, buddy. That was fun. Hereditary, Shelby, freaked me out too.